We're going to begin with this. A Fayette County labor union official was sentenced in federal court earlier last week. According to the DOJ, Jason Todd Weaver of Mount Hope was sentenced to 5 years of federal probation in order to pay over $2,000 in restitution for embezzlement of funds by an officer of labor organization. Court documents and statements show that the 50-year-old used his position as the secretary and treasurer of the American Postal Workers Union, Local 1509, to embezzle a total of $12,396 in union funding, including issuing 17 union checks to himself and misusing the union's credit card 59 times. Now, this spanned over the course of April 25th, 2016 to November 13th, 2021. On October 29th of 2021, Weaver wrote himself a check for $352.62. That check was written from the Local 1509's Beckley bank account, and Weaver signed his name as an authorized account signatory and forged the name of another union officer who was also an authorized account signatory. Weaver admitted that he knew he was not entitled to that money and that he deposited it into his own personal bank account. Weaver did repay $9,500 of the total before pleading guilty to the embezzlement offense. You can head over to WVVA.com for a full breakdown.